This is the moment Social Security runs out of backup money. Not theoretical, not hypothetical, locked in. It's the year everything changes for 68 million Americans. And no one's really talking about it. Right now, the system is paying out more than it's bringing in. And just like your bank account, that only works until the balance hits zero. In this video, we're breaking down how we got here, why no one's fixing it, and why it could affect your future more than anything else happening in Washington. Let's get one thing straight from the start. Social Security isn't collapsing because people are living too long. It's collapsing because it was designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore, and honestly, never will again. See, when this system was created back in 1935, life expectancy was around 61. Social Security kicked in at 65. You weren't supposed to collect it. It was a nice little government magic trick, which makes a promise of a benefit you'll probably never live long enough to claim. Bold move, but hey, it worked, for a while. Back then, there were tons of young workers paying into the system. The economy was growing, families were big, and the workforce was constantly being refreshed. Fast forward to now, different story. Take a look at this chart. This is what our population looked like in 1950 versus what it's projected to be by 2100. It used to be a pyramid. Lots of young people at the bottom, fewer old people at the top. Now, it's a mushroom. The bottom's shrinking, the top's getting fat. I mean, the whole system is top-heavy and tipping. In 1960, there were 5 workers for every person collecting benefits. Today, fewer than 3. By 2034, down to 2. That's 1 paycheck supporting half a retiree. Or 2 workers splitting the bill for someone else's retirement. You don't need a PhD in economics to know that math doesn't scale. And no, it's not just a rough patch. This is a straight line down. The worker-to-retiree ratio is falling off a cliff, and we're all strapped to the hood. This isn't a sudden collapse. It's been a slow-motion train wreck for decades. The kind you can see coming from miles away, and somehow still crash into. Let's pause for a second. This system was built on the idea that people would work hard, retire briefly, then conveniently die. That's not a joke. That was the math. Today, people live into their 80s and 90s. And thanks to modern medicine, they're staying retired a lot longer. But we never really updated the system. We just kept promising the same benefits to more people for longer periods, with fewer workers footing the bill. It's like offering unlimited ice cream in a town with 1 cow. Meanwhile, the average Social Security payout is about $1,900 a month for retired workers. And millions of people rely on that to survive, not as a supplement, but as their entire income. So yeah, this isn't just a government budget issue, it's a millions of lives issue. Zoom out for a second. We're watching a system that was once a shining example of government foresight turn into a financial time bomb. Not because someone hacked it or looted it, but because we refuse to accept that time changes everything, even the systems we once thought were bulletproof. And like any time bomb, the worst thing you can do is pretend it's not ticking. So, fewer workers, more retirees, longer lives, a system running on borrowed time. The question is, where's the money going to come from? That's where things really start to fall apart. Okay, so the system is top-heavy, the workforce is shrinking, and retirees are living longer. That's bad, but here's what makes it worse. Social Security isn't just creaking under demographic pressure, it's also broke. Like technically not yet bankrupt, but definitely borrowing to pay the rent kind of broke. Here's the deal. Social Security runs like a group tab at a diner. Everyone working today chips in, and the retirees pick up their slice of pie on the way out. Only problem is, the tab has gotten bigger, and there aren't enough people ordering food anymore. In 2023, the system paid out more than it took in, again. And to cover the gap, it dipped into the emergency stash, the trust fund. Here's the red flag: by 2034, that stash runs dry. Zero, nada, done. At that point, unless something changes, Social Security will only be able to pay about 77% of promised benefits. So yeah, if you were banking on getting a full check in retirement, maybe start practicing the phrase, "Do you want fries with that?" And if you're wondering, can't the government just step in? It already is. Social Security eats up about a quarter of the entire federal budget. By 2052, that number could hit 40%. 40%. That's almost half the federal pie being served to a single program. Let's talk about Medicare for a second. Different program, same vibe. More beneficiaries, more costs, less sustainability. Over time, its funding has shifted from payroll taxes to, you guessed it, general revenue. What this means is that we're just charging the credit card now, and Social Security's about to do the same. So what's the government doing about all this? Mostly pretending it's not happening. Politicians on both sides know the math. But no one wants to be the person who says, hey, maybe we can raise the retirement age? That's basically career suicide. So instead, they do nothing. Just smile, wave, and hope the system collapses on the next guy's watch. And remember, this isn't a new problem. We've seen it coming for decades. The math didn't suddenly break, we just kept ignoring the results. Big picture, this is what slow motion collapse looks like. Not a sudden crash, not a scandal, just a steady, boring decline fueled by denial and delay. We're not falling off a cliff. We're sliding down one in an office chair, holding a report we didn't read, and wondering why our feet are burning. So now we know, the money's running out, the trust fund's ticking, and the political will to fix it, non-existent. But the system doesn't collapse in theory, it collapses on people, real people. So now we know the system is strained, the money's running out. But here's the thing. This doesn't end with a budget cut. It ends with someone not paying rent. As of 2023, 68 million Americans receive Social Security benefits. That's not just a statistic, that's 1 in 5 people in the US. And for many of them, Social Security isn't a bonus, it's the only reason they can keep the lights on. Most of the money goes to retired workers, but there's also disabled people, widows, and even children who lost a parent. So no, cutting Social Security isn't just about shaving a few bucks off a retiree's golf budget. It's slicing into the only safety net some people have. The average monthly benefit? Around $1,900. Now pause and think. Can you cover rent, groceries, medications, and maybe the occasional doctor visit on that? Okay, now knock 20% off that number. Because if the trust fund runs dry, that's exactly what happens. The system won't shut down. It'll just start paying out less, around 75% of promised benefits. And no, Congress doesn't need to vote for that, it's automatic. You could wake up one day, and your benefit check is suddenly $400 lighter. No warning, no explanation, just, oops. And keep in mind, this affects every branch of the program, not just retirees. That's disability support, survivors, low-income children, everyone takes the hit. It's like trimming all the life vests while the ship's still sinking. Oh, and the number of people relying on these benefits? Tripled since 1970, and it's still climbing. We're feeding more mouths with fewer dollars, while pretending everything's fine. This is what happens when we confuse sustainability with delay. We keep the system on life support, hoping that growth will magically fix everything, or that future politicians will have the courage we don't. But hope isn't a retirement plan. And eventually, someone's going to be left holding the bill. Spoiler, it's not going to be the people in charge. So let's be clear, this isn't a maybe. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a countdown. And when the clock hits 0, millions of Americans lose real money, instantly. Not because they did anything wrong, but because we built a system on shaky math and never updated the equation. So now we've seen the full picture. We built a system on 1930s logic, ignored the math for decades, and now we're heading toward a cliff we knew was there the whole time. So what do we do? Well, we could fix it. Raise the retirement age, increase payroll taxes, trim benefits, or some uncomfortable combination of all three. But here's the important part. Every year we wait, the fixes get more painful, and nobody wants to be the one holding the scissors when the cutting starts. So if you've made it this far, congrats. You now understand more about Social Security than most politicians in office. Whether it breaks, bends, or gets fixed. At least now, you'll see it coming.